Welcome back to STAAR History Blitz. My name is Mrs. B. Gonzalez, and we're going to continue with our social studies curriculum. This video is all about British colonization. What were the reasons why each specific British colony was established? These are some key detailed points that we're going to be reviewing in this video. Let's get started. The 13 original colonies are divided into regions. A region is a place with similar characteristics. Now, we're really going to get into those characteristics in the next video, but just know that they are 13 colonies and they're divided into 3 sections, regions. The first section is called the New England colonies, and they were primarily founded for religious reasons. These colonies include New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Plymouth, Massachusetts was established by the Pilgrims. Now, before the 1600s, European states had established churches and all citizens were expected to belong to them. For years, the Pilgrims were victims of persecution, meaning they were being punished because of their religious beliefs. In 1620, a group of Pilgrims decided to sail on the Mayflower in search of religious freedom. They were actually trying to get to the colony of Jamestown, Virginia, but a storm blew them off course and they ended up landing north of that in present-day Massachusetts. Before they got off their ship, the Mayflower, they realized that they didn't have rules and laws. And so what they decided to do is make a social contract amongst themselves. They said, let's make rules and laws for ourselves to follow for the good of the colony. This became the very first form of self-government in North America. Now, after that, more religious groups started to come over and they established colonies such as Massachusetts Bay. They also came to practice their religion without persecution. However, in Massachusetts Bay, the leader, John Winthrop, was kind of being really strict and even persecuting his own people. So from Massachusetts Bay, you get 2 other religious colonies. One of them in 1636 is established by Roger Williams, and it was a place for religious toleration. The next one is Connecticut, in which Thomas Hooker left Massachusetts to form this colony. There, he established the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. It was one of the first self-governing documents that was similar to the Constitution that we have today. In this document, he said, you don't have to be part of the church to vote or to have a voice in government. So he expanded suffrage, the right to vote, beyond church members. So again, the colonies in the New England region are New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Let's move on to the Middle Colonies, or also known as the Mid-Atlantic colonies. These were primarily founded for political reasons. They include New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, which was actually for religious reasons, if you notice the little icons there. Pennsylvania was established by William Penn as a safe haven for Quakers. That's a religious group. They were escaping religious persecution and they found refuge or a safe haven, a safe place in Pennsylvania. Quakers believed that everyone was equal under God's eyes, and they were the first reformers to want to end slavery. They believed that slavery went against their Christian principles. Southern colonies include Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and Georgia. Now, these were established for different reasons. Let's start off with Maryland. Maryland was established by Lord Baltimore for religious reasons. He was a Catholic. As a Catholic, he brought over a lot of people who were escaping persecution and were seeking religious freedom. He actually established the Act of Toleration that allowed many different religions to come in and practice their religion freely. Jamestown, Virginia became the first permanent English settlement in 1607. Despite many hardships, they did become successful after they were introduced to tobacco, a cash crop that made them very successful. Another thing that made them extremely successful was in 1619, they established the first elected representative assembly known as the House of Burgesses. They needed to be able to make rules and laws, and because the king was so far away and he was busy doing his own thing, they allowed them to elect representatives to make rules and laws for their colony. So to be able to govern at a local level. What happened was now it acted as a model for future legislatures, for future colonies who also wanted to establish a representative assembly. And finally, Georgia, as we learned in the last video session, it was established for social reasons. Debtors in England would never be able to get out of jail. So they came over to Georgia to start a new life. It's important to know the difference when comparing Jamestown, Virginia and Plymouth, Massachusetts. I need you to know that Jamestown was the first permanent English settlement, and it was established for commercial profit, meaning to make money. They became successful because of tobacco as their cash crop, and they had the Virginia House of Burgesses, a representative assembly. The difference with Plymouth is that it's the second colony established for religious reasons, for pilgrims who were escaping persecution. They actually signed a self-governing document, a social contract. So those are their differences. Now, what are their similarities? They're both British colonies along the Atlantic coast, and they both contributed to the growth of representative and self-government. This concludes our STAAR History Blitz. My name is Mrs. B. Gonzalez, and we'll see you on the next one.